you saw all these negative things about body positivity. You just weren't doing body positivity well enough. Clearly. Yeah, like that's why your friends aren't here. They just didn't body positivity enough. Or maybe they body positivity too much, too close to the sun. What's up, guys? This is Emmy Brooklyn Baby. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back, as promised, in my Brooklyn basement, ready to talk about fat ladies on the internet. As many of you might already know, the New York Times published an opinion piece last week featuring Gabriella Lascano, who is a former body positivity influencer who then, I think it was about a year ago, posted to TikTok basically renouncing the body positivity movement and talking about the very real health implications that can come from obesity. And people were not kind to her. She got a lot of hate for that TikTok video. And I remember seeing a lot of reactions to that initial TikTok. But I thought it was so heroic what she did. And I was honestly just so happy to see somebody who actually had a voice in the movement speak out against it. So I was delighted last week to see this opinion piece in the New York Times, but I've also been closely following on social media all the negative reactions, which we're also going to talk about today. So grab a snack, grab a soda pop, grab, whatever you need, and let's sit down and watch this together. And then we're going to watch the fallout together. We're going to watch the fat acceptance horde crumble because of this video. This is the original video, and let's just get right into it.
I used to be a body positivity influencer, preaching a simple message: love yourself at any size. Then I risked it all.
I don't care how trendy or cute or fun it seems to be fat. You gotta really think about your health. Love yourself at any size, but don't forget that your heart has to beat, babes.
I'm gonna tell you how I got here. From championing body positivity to renouncing it. My story starts like this. Since I was a little girl, I always knew I was bigger. But I'm from the Bronx, where having a curvy body and a fat ass is what you want. When you're Latina, you get called gordita, and it's a term of endearment. Fluffy, like Gabriella used to say.
I called myself fat around my mom, and she was like, "Mijo, you're not fat, you're fluffy."
It wasn't until college that I learned in the rest of the country, thinness is the beauty standard. Even worse, fat people are seen as lazy and dumb.
I'm doing horizontal running.
It wasn't just a fun thing to be fluffy, it was actually something people found disgusting.
Run for the hills, it's Fatzilla.
Studies show fat people are often treated worse in healthcare. And for women, the heavier we are, the less we're paid. I eventually learned that this discrimination has a name: fat phobia. I never planned on being a body positivity influencer. I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be a star.
I love Beyonce.
But being plus size, I never felt like it was possible. And so I started my YouTube channel in 2010.
I was going to say, you can totally tell that she has that it factor. Like, even in these early YouTube videos, which the nostalgia goes hard on this YouTube layout from years past. But, oh, this is back in 2010. Yeah. But you can tell that she has something, like she didn't get into this for the body positivity. It sounds like she wanted to be an entertainer, and then she kind of fell into the body positivity niche, so to speak.
Semicircle type of effect. But it's just a simple tank top, and it only costs like $13.
That's when I started to get more attention from other plus size women about how empowered they felt watching my content. And that just made me feel like I had a bigger purpose in what I was creating. I started posting more intentionally.
You woke up for a reason. You didn't wake up to feel bad about yourself.
Sometimes about plus size fashion.
They actually look like a legit 3X. They look big.
Or travel.
I deserve to be on this flight just as anyone else.
Brands started sending me clothes to model.
I have a collaboration with Boohoo. So I partner with GS Love Me. Thank you to Forever 21 for sponsoring this video.
I was on magazine covers and making headlines. It was the late 2010s and body positivity exploded.
Versace brand featured 3 plus-size models.
Full-figured, plus-sized lady.
American.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's when you saw Tess Holliday on the cover of Cosmopolitan. That's when we started really featuring much larger bodies in the media and companies started having more plus lines, it became way more profitable for companies to cater to that portion of the population. So body positivity, while it was a real movement and it had, it already had a big community on social media, the brands kind of latched onto that and then it exploded. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, really. And it's crazy how the tides have turned.
In Vogue, Sports Illustrated.
A huge step forward for body positivity.
I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it, shake it.
Seeing a community that welcomes you with open arms and tells you there's no pressure to look this way, to be this certain weight. I mean, does that not sound like paradise? Then, over time, I got heavier and heavier. I've always been an adventurous person, but there was a lot I couldn't do anymore. Fitting into the seats on roller coasters, planes. I couldn't wear heels, my dresses wouldn't zip up. And that wasn't all. When you're bigger, you might not be able to wipe as well as a thinner person. Can't reach because there's no space.
I'm happy that she's talking about the negative things that she started to discover as she gained more and more weight. I paused it because the shoes, that struck a chord with me because this is something that I've noticed with plus size fashion girls. I'm not saying it's all of them, but I started to notice this. Nobody told me. I just kind of put it together on my own that I would see plus size girls put together outfits on Instagram and they would never repeat an outfit. Like, these women have gigantic wardrobes. So many clothes, like way more clothes than I have. But then they would always be wearing like these dirty Hoka sneakers or like really thick wedges or just like not that cute shoes. And it confused me at first because I would think like, I don't get why they're not into shoes. Like I would just assume, oh, I guess she's not into shoes. And then slowly over time, I realized that a lot of people in much larger bodies, they can't really wear cute shoes. Like you can't really balance on a stiletto or even like a little kitten heel. You need more support than that. And quite often, you're not even going to be able to really walk around without pain in any kind of a shoe that's not a sneaker. So that's something that I put together over time. There are a lot of things that I've started to notice that I don't want to say like plus size people are keeping it from us, but they don't point it out. You know, like I've never heard anybody actually point out, yeah, I actually can't really wear a lot of shoes. But I noticed it because just in every video, these fashion girlies would be wearing like the same pair of shoes. And it didn't make sense with the amount of clothes that they had otherwise. Anyway.
And recognize myself. I'm only 5 feet tall. And at my heaviest, I was close to 400 pounds. I started to wonder if loving myself at...
Yeah, okay, so that puts it into context a little bit more. It would be very challenging to do a lot of things if you were 5 feet tall and 400 pounds.
Had become an excuse to ignore how big I was getting. I felt like I saw myself being brainwashed, essentially. Meanwhile, the language around body positivity began sounding more extreme online.
There are a few words that I don't allow. Healthy is one of them.
This comes up a lot when I talk about how the word obese is a slur.
I don't want to step on the scale at the doctor's. I say, oh, I don't want to be weighed today.
Intentional weight loss is fat phobic.
This is what makes exercise fat phobic.
It's rooted in fat phobia. It's not rooted in science. It doesn't work.
I've even seen celebrities being attacked for losing weight.
This morning, Kelly Clarkson facing criticism after revealing she's taking a prescription medication for weight loss.
The slim down star is facing criticism after her noticeable weight loss.
It wasn't always like this. Years before, I had often talked about weight loss without getting hate.
The last couple of days, I was feeling really like depressed. And I was like, I need to get my ass out there and work out.
Today's video is going to be a what I eat in a day video to lose weight.
But as the body positivity community became more radical, I was scared to say the wrong thing. So I stayed silent. Then my friend died. She was a body positivity influencer who founded the world's first plus-size salon.
All bodies, all sizes, and has custom chairs that hold up to 800 pounds.
She was just someone I considered like a big sister. Taught me about business and taught me about the movement. I worried about her a lot. After she was bedridden because of heart failure, Jamie expressed her desire to lose weight.
I haven't left the house in 2 years, and I just learned to walk again.
I really believed that she was going to make it out of it. But in late 2022, she died at 37, reportedly from heart complications. Like, I didn't want her to feel like I was trying to tell her what to do, and I kind of wish I would have spoke up maybe more. And
it's heartbreaking, and yeah, we've seen people in this community start to pass away, and the really upsetting thing to me about it is that they're almost never spoken of again. It's like they were a ghost. It's like they never existed. Like, the fat acceptance community and body positivity community, like, when they lose one of their own, we don't have these conversations about the nuances of body positivity and how that could have been taken too far, or negative health implications of obesity. Like, it never comes up again. And it's tragic. It's really tragic. 37 is way too young to pass away, and you can see that it pains her.
Just let her know that I cared. And she wasn't the only one. A week later, another body positivity influencer posted this video.
I ruined my life with food, binge eating, and lack of self-care. I'm hoping that it's not too late for me this time.
Just months before, Brittany said she developed type 2 diabetes and serious weight-related skin infections.
But my pelvic region is literally the size of like a large purse. It's extremely swollen and hard.
1 week after posting that video, begging the universe for another chance at life,
it's really scary how bad things can get.
She died. She was 28. I don't know for sure if Jamie and Brittany died because of their size, but hearing their own regrets, I couldn't help but think of myself. It was one thing to sacrifice my adventurous lifestyle. It was another to put my life at risk.
I think it's fair to assume that their passing was, if not caused, it was exacerbated by obesity. But I appreciate that she is, she's towing a line here. She is towing a line, and she's doing an incredible job. I mean, I don't know what goes into these interviews with the New York Times, if they coach you or if they kind of media train you at all. I don't know how any of that works, but I think she's doing an incredible job of not being offensive to that community, but really speaking her truth and speaking about her lived experience.
And so I just pressed record, and everything I said just came out.
I'm gonna say something controversial, and I don't care. I actually feel kind of guilty for being a part of this movement. Health is real. Organs failing is real. Diabetes, heart disease, all that is real, okay? It's not fat phobic to care about your health. And this is coming from someone who's learning those lessons now, myself.
And the backlash was massive.
I've literally been seething with anger.
It's blowing my mind how fat phobic you've become.
You should know better and do better.
The body positivity community branded me a pariah. And so I left. I want to lose more weight, but I still feel a lot better than I did before. I feel a lot more like myself. Let me be clear. Not every fat person is unhealthy. Not every skinny person is healthy.
A viral rise in skinny talk.
Skinny talk, dark side of social media,
encourages disordered eating.
If you want to get skinny, you need to gaslight yourself to skinny.
View food as something that is optional always.
It's interesting. I like that they included the skinny talk stuff, but the way that we have come so hard for skinny talk and for, the pro-Anna content that's kind of making a little resurgence in certain corners of the internet, it's incongruous with the way that we give the fat acceptance stuff a pass. Like, I believe that if we're going to prohibit skinny talk, like the hashtag on TikTok, then you got to start cracking down on fat talk. Because both sides are encouraging very unhealthy behavior. And then, there's this gray area in between that is not harmful. Like, The part of fat acceptance that I always thought was unproblematic was this thing that she's talking about, that you should be able to live a full life regardless of your size. And you don't need to wait until you're a certain size to live the life that you want. And I think that's a wonderful outlook to have. I don't think that requires you to never want to lose weight, to never want to improve yourself. Those two things can coexist. So yeah, I'm happy that they included a little bit about skinny talk, but I think the response that we've had to skinny talk, we need to start having that towards the fat acceptance content.
Not everyone can control their weight, and no one should be mistreated for it. But what's not fatphobic is this. Being fat does increase your risk of health problems. Studies show obese people are about 6 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. We have a 28% greater risk of heart disease. We have higher risk for 13 types of cancer. Up to 7 times the risk for endometrial cancer. Up to 5 times the risk for esophageal cancer. Colon, rectal, pancreatic, kidney. Higher risk of strokes. We can still be body positive while acknowledging these risks. We can still love ourselves, even if we want to lose weight. That's what real body positivity should stand for. Loving yourself at any size and having the freedom to change it.
Really well done. I personally am very impressed with how they handled this. I think it was a very nuanced take, and I think it was a very accurate portrayal of what has happened to the body positive movement, which is fat acceptance and fat liberation has completely co-opted the movement, and it's turned it into, I don't want to say a cult, but it's cult-like. It is cult-like. So this is the accompanying article, and this right here is what I believe to be the thesis of this article. She describes how a well-intentioned movement has over time become self-destructive with potentially fatal consequences. That's exactly what she was talking about, how when she got into body positivity, it was all about loving yourself, living a full life, not limiting yourself because of your size, being out there, being into fashion, being into beauty, working on your self-confidence, all of that good stuff. But over time, the movement has become incredibly toxic. And this is what I talk about all the time. This is what the anti-fat acceptance niche on YouTube, what we're all talking about all the time, is that the original intention of the movement, which was accepting all different bodies and being able to appreciate what your body can do for you and the ways that it serves you, that has morphed into this weird social thing where it's like, if you lose weight, that means you hate fat people. And that means that you never want to be like them. And you think they need to be eradicated from the planet. And all of this really out there wackadoodle stuff that was not what the movement was about originally. So overall, I thought this was really well done. I was really happy that they actually took the time to cover this in the New York Times. But then I started seeing the reactions, and I knew that there were going to be so many weird reactions, but let's just start it off with this one from Samira, who many of you guys are probably already familiar with.
Just so we're clear, that New York Times opinion piece about body positivity, waste of time. Lazy research.
Why'd she put opinion in quotes? It was an opinion.
Research, a very poor, unnuanced take. Yeah, if you want to talk about body positivity, don't talk about it with somebody fatphobic who doesn't even understand what body positivity is. And furthermore, if you're going to include research, make sure you have both the proper analytical and critical thinking skills to discuss said research. So, just so...
Okay. Yeah, so this was the first one I saw. She didn't say anything. I mean, she didn't say what she thought specifically was wrong or what they misrepresented. She's kind of just going off and saying, this is ridiculous, Gabriella's fatphobic. And I gotta tell you guys, I can't stand Samira. I think she is such a pseudo-intellectual. It really annoys me how every time somebody talks about her, they have to say, like, Harvard grad, Samira, like, they have to talk about how she went to Harvard, like that gives her any kind of leg to stand on. First of all, she went to Harvard undergrad for a sociology degree, which I'm not saying that it's easy to get into Harvard, okay? I didn't get into Harvard, but that doesn't make her instantly a more credible source than the doctors and the scientists and the journalists that have been covering the relation between obesity and negative health outcomes for decades. And it's so strange to me that her followers will trust every word that she says just because she has a sociology degree from Harvard, but they won't trust people who have equally, if not more impressive educations, who write about the other side of it, how obesity does in fact lead to a lot of health complications. That they don't agree with, but they'll, follow anything that Samira does and Samira says because she went to Harvard. It's like, it's just weird what people are impressed by. Like, you're going to believe everything she says because she has a sociology degree from Harvard. Where did your health at every size doctor go to school? UC Santa Barbara? Like, since when did we all become elitists that we only trust people with Ivy League educations? This is just my own experience, but some of the dumbest people that I know went to Ivy League schools. And I'm not going to name any names, but it's true. Like, I'm just saying, I went to a state school and I can write a better email than a lot of my Ivy League counterparts. Anyway, yeah, so she said nothing. So there's not really even that much to react to. It's just they feel so comfortable popping off, but then never providing any citations. Like, she's coming on here and she's saying they misrepresented studies, they misrepresented research, what have you. But she's not presenting any conflicting research or anything to prove her point, because apparently her word is the law. So that was Samira. This is a reaction that I saw from Dr. Rachel Milner. She is deep in the fat acceptance community, and I've already looked at her profile. She is a therapist. She's not a medical doctor, but this is her little response to the article.
The New York Times opinion section just published a video blog about a person who was a former body positive influencer and then risked it all and denounced the movement. Aside from the fact that it is full of misinformation about body positivity or fat liberation, there's nothing new or different about somebody being like, oh, I'm body positive. Well, actually, I'm going to go lose weight. Like, okay.
You're right. That wasn't what was interesting about the article. It wasn't about a former body positive influencer that then decided to lose weight. It was about this portion here that I already outlined, describing how a well-intentioned movement has over time become self-destructive with potentially fatal consequences. It's almost like people make up their mind about something without actually analyzing the source material. Like, does she think that this was about somebody who was into body positivity but then just decided to lose weight? That's what she took away from that video? It's about how this movement has taken on a life of its own and is actually claiming people's lives and encouraging people to not pursue health-promoting behaviors, which is the opposite of what it really should be. That's what Gabriella was talking about, that how true body positivity is treating your body the best you can possibly treat it, which includes, if you are massively overweight, trying to get down to a healthy weight so you don't experience issues later in life. Like, what is not clocking to you?
If the New York Times opinion wants to post something or publish something that's actually revolutionary and interesting and a little different, why don't they post about somebody who's in a fat body, staying in a fat body, not pursuing weight loss, actually understands fat liberation and body positivity, and even in all of the messages in our culture, is still staying firm in their values and beliefs and existing in their body as it is right now. That's revolutionary. That's part of the resistance. That's how change happens. So,
okay, the fact that she said that's part of the resistance, red flag. As soon as somebody starts referring to not losing weight or existing in a larger body as an act of resistance, I know that they've drank the Kool-Aid. Like that is, your body is not an act of resistance. Your body is not a political statement. Your body is your body. It's the vessel through which you experience life, and you need to treat it the best you can possibly treat it because you only get one of them in this life. It really freaks me out, to be quite honest with you, when people start idealizing these issues and talking about people's bodies as if they don't belong to them. Like, your body belongs to you and only you. It's not part of a political movement. And that's not what Gabriella was talking about. I also want to point out that the New York Times has presented the other side. This is just one article that I found, but this was an article that the New York Times printed in 2024 about Virginia Soule-Smith, who is a fat activist and a writer. And it was all about her fat activism, all about how she doesn't allow any weight loss comments in her house, how she doesn't believe in weight loss, how she runs her household from an anti-diet philosophy. So it's not like they haven't shown the other side before. They have. It's not that interesting anymore. The movement has completely deflated. It's on its way out. So obviously they're going to cover what is more culturally relevant right now, which is the downfall of this movement.
somebody who's a body positive influencer deciding to pursue weight loss isn't actually news. The New York Times
Again, that's not what she was talking about. She was talking about how she got sucked into this movement and then saw the dark side of it that made her feel like she couldn't leave and may have contributed to the disappearance of two of her friends. I'm like, can I be real with you guys for a minute? I've been honestly feeling sick over this. And I don't know what it is. No, I do know what it is, actually. It's seeing all of these reactions and seeing the way that somebody could hear about somebody else's lived experience losing their friends and taking a hard look at the way that they've been approaching their health and wanting to change it and wanting to inspire other people, and coming online and telling people how that's a bad thing, how that's disrespectful to fat people and that's harmful. And like, how can we see things from such different perspectives? And the only thing that I can come up with is that since it is, for lack of a better word, a cult, right? It doesn't matter what Gabriella said. It wouldn't matter what argument she made or the story that she told. If you speak out against this movement, they're going to come for you. Period. Point blank. They're going to come for her no matter what she says. Because if you go back to the original video, what she said is not that controversial. Another thing is, I hate to go for the low-hanging fruit. I never want to take cheap shots at people, but it is kind of hard to take somebody seriously when they can't even say 5 words without taking a massive deep breath. I mean,
video blog about a person who was a former body positive influencer and then risked it all and denounced the movement. Aside from the fact that it is full of misinformation about body positivity or fat liberation.
I mean, She can't even finish a sentence without taking a deep ass breath. This is another thing that the fat liberationists don't really talk about, but you will start to notice it. A lot of them can't breathe. They can't wear shoes and they can't breathe. But, you know, being obese doesn't really impact your health or your quality of life at all. Who needs shoes? Let's all just wear Birkenstocks all the time and have breathing machines. That's a better solution than losing weight. Moving on. This is our friend Sam at Fine Food Freedom. I did a video about her, or partially about her, a couple weeks ago, and she always has some interesting takes. So let's see what she has to say.
Be a body positivity influencer, preaching a simple message: love yourself at any size. And then I risked it all.
I don't care how trendy or cute or fun it seems to be fat. You gotta really think about your health. Love yourself at any size, but don't forget that your heart has to beat, babes.
I'm gonna tell you how I got here. From championing body positivity to renouncing it.
New York Times released this opinion piece, and it's very problematic, and we need to talk about why. My name's Sam. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive counselor, certified personal trainer, and I help people make peace with food and their body and genuinely improve their health. The story behind this piece and what they're trying to get you to believe is that if you believe in body positivity, that you're also saying, fuck my health, I don't give a shit about it. And
not what she was saying. Once again, do you know what's interesting? I had this thought while I was seeing all of these videos. I have been tutoring my nephew, Oliver. He is in the 5th grade, and he started doing the 5-paragraph essays, and they'll get a topic every 2 weeks, and then they have to write a 5-paragraph essay, and they have to use sources and cite them and come up with a really good argument for one side or the other. And anyway, we've been working on that together. If he demonstrated this level of reading comprehension that Sam, but also all of these people are showing in their responses, he would get an F. Like, they're not, for some reason, they are completely missing the forest for the trees. They are not picking up on this thesis statement, how a well-intentioned movement has over time become self-destructive with potentially fatal consequences. That's the thesis. It's not about how if you believe in body positivity, then you don't care about your health. That's not what she was saying at all. She's saying that this movement online has become toxic. It has taken on a life of its own, and it's not about treating yourself well anymore. It's about this other thing. And it's so funny how in these responses, they're all trying to clap back at her, you know? I was going to clap. They're all trying to clap back at her, but they're kind of proving her point because they're coming for her so hard without even taking some time and listening to what she has to say.
that couldn't be further from the truth. The body positivity movement originated from the fat acceptance movement from the 1960s. And it was founded by activists who were aiming to end discrimination against larger bodies.
So if you look into it, it was actually started by, I believe, 3 thin white men who they wanted their wives, their fat wives, to be accepted in society because, and they also wanted to be accepted for being attracted to larger bodied people. It was not started by fat, black, queer women of color or whatever they claim is the origin. And I'm not going to go into it, but there are lots of other people's videos that you can look into that. Nadia Nymph has one about the origins of the fat acceptance movement. Sam at Every Size has one. A lot of people have covered that, so I'm not going to get into it, but I find it interesting how they always go back to, no, it was activists in the 60s that they were fat and black and queer and they wanted equal rights. Like, that's actually not the origin. I think at a certain point they merged, but the origin, it was started by thin white men who were attracted to larger ladies.
You are a champion of the body positive movement. It doesn't mean that you're giving up your health or you're not taking care of yourself. It just means that you believe that all size bodies deserve respect, basic human decency, and that it's possible to respect your own body regardless of the size.
But isn't that what she was saying, though? She said, love yourself at any size, but don't forget your heart has to beat, babes. Like, that's exactly what she said. She said, you are worthy at any size. You can live a full life. You can love yourself, but don't forget about your health. It was a cautionary tale. I don't know what she's going on about. I mean, it really is as if they just read the headline and they didn't actually read the article or watch the video.
I find on social media that there is this massive misunderstanding. As a weight inclusive provider that helps people in all size bodies, we are extremely health promoting. We use the intuitive eating framework to help remove the guilt and shame from food.
I just wanted to pause real quick to say the intuitive eating framework should not, in my opinion, should not be used for people who are massively overweight, because you are not gonna intuitively drop 150 pounds. Like this whole thing about, no, weight loss is okay. It's intentional weight loss that's not okay. Who do you know who's ever lost 100+ pounds by accident? If that did happen, I think you would be concerned, okay? Weight loss is something that needs to be intentional, and it needs to be monitored, and it needs to be done, in a systematic way. It's not like that's another example of how I feel like everything is so idealistic. Like they're not living in the real world with a lot of this stuff.
So we can start to implement behaviors that make us feel pleasant in our body, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Of course, we're looking at individual behaviors like nutrient intake, hydration, sleep, stress management, movement, all of those things. But we're also...
Another thing is when they say we talk about incorporating health promoting behaviors. Absolutely. I mean, I think people in all size bodies should incorporate health promoting behaviors. Taking walks, drinking more water, getting more sleep, like all the things that she was talking about. Totally. Emotional health, mental health. Yes. But I just want to ask her, like, I wish we were face to face right now so I could say, do you consider eating fewer calories to be a health promoting behavior? If you've been eating more than you need, wouldn't that be a health promoting behavior to reduce your caloric intake to a range that's actually healthy and is actually going to be utilized by your body properly and not stored as excess fat? Like if somebody came in and if somebody came into a clinic and was underweight, I would think a health promoting behavior would be to eat more calories so that they can be weight restored. So wouldn't the same be true on the other end, that a health promoting behavior would be to eat the proper amount of calories for your body, or to at least not eat more than you need? That's just food for thought. But that's the thing that always gets lost. It's like, well, we want to pursue every health promoting behavior except for eating the proper amount of food. Why? That's part of it. It's a huge part of it.
Looking at health for what it is, we need to look at somebody's environment. We need to look at their medical care, their social circumstances, their genetics and biology, not only the behaviors that they engage in. Health doesn't exist in a vacuum. All of these systems impact our health.
That's true. Our environment, the way we were raised, our genetics, all of these things do impact our health, but our behaviors do as well. So what can you control? You can't control, well, to a certain degree, you can't control your environment. You can't control how you were raised. You can't control your genetics, but you can control your behaviors. And there is a lot of empowerment in that. And I find the language that she uses to be somewhat disempowering. Because basically she's saying, well, there are all of these forces outside of your control that are keeping you the way you are. And so, you can incorporate all the behaviors you want, but like if you're fat, you're still going to be fat. That's not true. It might be more difficult for you to get down to a healthy body weight, but it's not impossible. Most of the time. There are outliers, of course.
Say that because you believe in body positivity means that you are just completely disregarding your health is so problematic. And this is
not what she was saying.
No hater shade to this creator.
No, you know what? I think it is. I think you are throwing shade to this creator because you are misrepresenting what she said. You're misrepresenting her words. And you're bastardizing her lived experience, quite frankly.
When she says that she's renouncing the body positivity movement, she doesn't have a clear understanding of what it is. Please.
You know what really just grinds my gears? All of these non-diet dietitians are always going on about how the diet industry makes you feel like a failure. They're always talking about how you start a diet and then when you fail the diet industry or diet culture makes you feel like it's your fault. You just didn't try hard enough. You just didn't do the diet the way that it was supposed to be done. You just didn't do it long enough. You just didn't adhere to the rules strictly enough. But she's doing the same thing. She's saying, well, you know what? You saw all these negative things about body positivity. You just weren't doing body positivity well enough. Clearly. You just never really knew what body positivity was about. Yeah, like that's why your friends aren't here. They just didn't body positivity enough. Or maybe they body positivity too much, too close to the sun. Like, they're doing the same goddamn thing that they say is wrong with the diet industry. The hypocrisy kills me.
You know that I recognize my privileges. I reside in a straight-sized body, and I understand that I have no idea what it's like to receive all of the discrimination and fat shaming that she does for simply existing.
You also have no idea what it's like to be in an obese body and suffer legitimate negative health consequences. She's going to go on to, I don't know, probably plug her program or tell you to listen to her podcast or some shit because she's always peddling her shit. So, okay, here's another one.
This message is for Gabriella Lascano and the New York Times. You're going to want to sit down for this. My problem with the video isn't Gabriella's personal experience. My problem is that she got online and without properly contextualizing the history and the nuances, she blamed body positivity. And all that has done is tell people waiting in the wings, it's all right, you guys, you can bully fat people again. Doctors, employers, you can discriminate against fat people. Shame.
I don't think she was implying or saying that people should bully fat people in any way. Like, once again, reading comprehension, okay? It's very important. I think some of these people need to go back to school. The thesis is how a well-intentioned movement has over time become self-destructive with potentially fatal consequences. It's not why doctors should bully their patients into losing weight. It's not why we should ostracize fat people and shame them for looking the way they do. How do you get that from the video that we watched? How does one go from A to Z?
Blame them. You're justified now. The approach was incredibly irresponsible, and the result of this is going to be a lot of harm. Your video collapses medical neglect, personal health decisions, and a civil rights movement about dignity and access into one argument. What you're really responding to is not what body positivity started out as, but what it has become.
Correct. See, this is the first time I've actually agreed wholeheartedly with something that somebody has said. She has a problem with what body positivity has become. Not body positivity as a concept, what it has become on the internet and the horrors that she has seen and experienced firsthand because of this movement. which, by the way, was co-opted by the fat acceptance movement. So that's really what we're talking about. We're not even talking about body positivity in the sense of like, you know, feeling positive about what your body can do. Like, we are talking about fat acceptance at this point.
And yes, that version is toxic, but it's not because of fat people. It was never about ignoring your health. And as it went mainstream, which is about the time you, Gabriella, began as a creator, the original message was watered down. It got co-opted by fitness influencers and brands that profited off of using fat bodies and fat influencers to promote their version. Because of what the body positivity movement became as we got closer to 2020, the movement fractured. Body positivity was still there, but again, it was a whole bunch of fitness influencers and it was more about aesthetic.
Yeah, totally. And I touched on that. Like, I think the brands really grabbed on to this movement and saw how it could be profitable. And for a few years there, it was extremely profitable as far as I know. That's also not really what she's talking about. Like, she's not talking about fitness influencers. She's talking about fat acceptance creators and this hive mind that has emerged. Like that montage that they showed in the beginning with like Tess Holiday and Anti-Diet Pilot. By the way, Anti-Diet Pilot is on a GLP-1 now. And she was talking about how exercise and intentional weight loss is fat phobic. This movement is full of a bunch of hypocrites. They only believe in something as much as it will serve their own narrative. She's not talking about aesthetics here. She's not. She's talking about the movement encouraging people to get bigger and bigger and bigger. She's not the only one that I've heard say this, by the way. And without revealing too much, I am close to a handful of people who are still entrenched in this movement. I don't know one person who has stayed the same size. Forget about, I'm not even saying they need to get smaller. They've all gained. They've all just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger because this movement, the way that it's been, I guess, translated over and over again, and like this game of telephone that's been happening, it has turned into people actually neglecting their health because of all the propaganda. It's just a ton of propaganda about how obesity doesn't cause any negative health outcomes when we know that that's not true. So if you tell yourself a lie over and over and over again for years and years and years, eventually it's going to seep into your subconscious and you are going to say fuck my health to a certain degree, right?
Body neutrality rose up, and that asked us to look more at what our body can do for us as opposed to what it looks like. And then you had fat liberation. That returned to the original roots of the body positivity movement, confronting anti-fat bias and the conditional dignity given to
I just want to note, Gabriella also touched on this in the beginning of the interview. She talked about how there's anti-fat bias in the medical field, and fat women it's been shown that they get paid less. Like, she did talk about this stuff. She acknowledged this stuff, which was part of what I thought was really well done.
Bodies. In the video, you mentioned that throughout your career, you had gained weight and gotten to 400 pounds. I gained 100 pounds, and at my highest weight, I was 425 pounds. I've since lost about 100 pounds, but I didn't get online and blame body positivity because it wasn't body positivity that led to my weight gain. It was going through a divorce, depression, and trying to survive a very challenging season in my life.
This is when it starts getting weird. So she says she gained 100 pounds because of hard things that she was going through in her life. You gained 100 pounds because you were consuming more calories than you needed. And I understand that is very simplistic, and it could have been caused by trauma or something that you were going through emotionally. It very likely was, right? But the mechanism is still that you were eating more than you needed. And it's weird how, like, that's never acknowledged. And now I get the sense she's about to turn it back around on Gabriella, saying, well, this movement didn't cause you to get massively huge. You did that to yourself. That's where I think she's going with this, which is interesting because that is antithetical to their whole movement. They're always talking about how it's not your fault, how there are forces, like I said, beyond your control. So now you're going to talk about personal responsibility? I mean, it seems like that's where she's going. Let's find out.
And it just makes me wonder, Gabriella, like, what are you going through? And what might you be trying to survive right now that had you not only turned to food to cope, which is a totally normal reaction, there's no shame in that, but it also has you blaming a movement that...
That is, yeah. So that basically is what she's saying. She's saying body positivity didn't make you gain weight. You made yourself gain weight, and body positivity was there for you when nobody else was. Like, this is some like Nexium shit, okay? Like, I cannot. In 10 years, there is going to be an entire serial style podcast series about how this movement actually destroyed people's lives. Mark my words.
To anyone feeling unsettled by this video, let me be very clear. Your worth is not tied to your weight. You do not owe anybody health to be deserving of dignity and respect.
You don't owe anybody health. I agree to a certain extent. Like, yeah, you can be unhealthy if you want to be unhealthy, but isn't it unethical to encourage other people to do the same things that you are doing if that's unhealthy? Like, you could definitely make an argument that it's super unethical to go on the internet and talk about how fabulous it is to be fat if you are actually making yourself unhealthy in the process. Because you're misrepresenting, you're not giving people a clear picture of what's actually going on. It's the same thing with the shoes. It's the same thing with the breathing. It's like, if we don't talk about it, then everyone will just see this pretty picture of me loving myself and living my best life, and they're never going to see any of the bad stuff. These people are just mad because the New York Times is exposing the dark side of this movement. Like, they're flailing right now. They're flailing because their movement is dying.
And if losing weight is something that you want to do, please go do it. Literally, nobody is telling you not to do it. Your body is your body is your body.
A lot of people discourage it in the fat acceptance community. And when body positive, quote unquote, influencers lose weight, I have personally received DMs that's like, do you think she's on a GLP-1? She never liked her body. Like, I'm telling you, people are talking shit about other people in the community losing weight all the time. So don't tell me that it's not happening. I know that it's happening. Because I'm on the inside, baby. I see things that other people don't.
Body, and you have the autonomy and the right to make the decision that you feel is best. What you don't have the right to do is go around and shame other people in other bodies for their decisions.
She wasn't shaming anyone. I really didn't feel like she was shaming anyone. I mean, she was talking about how growing up in the Bronx, she wanted to be curvy. She never saw a problem with her body. It was only until she got out in the world and saw the way that other people approached the beauty standard and people's bodies. And like, to call her fat phobic is such a stretch. It is such a reach. Come on.
Your reason for losing weight is so that you can turn back around and shame the very community that was there for you. You never loved your body and you never loved yourself.
Oh, mic drop. I can't watch this anymore. Let's see if we have any more here. Oh, okay. So this one. All right. So she's dancing. I can't play it because I think it's copyrighted, but it's, I got the sense that you want me. When you gonna give it up to me? Your body in tights is making me want it. When you gonna give it up to me? Oh, She mouthed the words the same time I did. Okay. It says, we're not body positive here. We're all about fat liberation instead. And the caption says, people who profit off body positivity and then turn around to degrade fat liberation absolutely disgusts me. The grammar there could have been refined a little bit, but I digress. Long live righteous fat anger. Body liberation for all. Also, okay, this is the part that I take serious issue with. Also, Gabriella Lascano was a POS, which stands for piece of shit, in case you don't know. It also stands for person of size, but I get the sense she means piece of shit. Gabriella Lascano was a piece of shit way before that first New York Times opinion piece came out. But co-opting your close friend's death to throw fat people under the bus? The real ones know that some of the worst people in our communities have been the ones with the biggest platform and success. I mean, to call her a piece of shit and to say that she's using her deceased friend to throw fat people under the bus? Are you out of your goddamn mind? I personally think that what Gabriella has done is heroic. I think it takes a lot of guts to stand up against this community. And I think she knew what was coming for her, and that's why it took her some time, to address it, but I still think it was incredibly well done. I think she handled it with grace, and I don't know her personally. I don't know if she's a good person or not, but it doesn't matter. What she is talking about is something that is a huge problem. And by the way, I think it's really easy to come on Instagram and shake your ass in front of the camera and call somebody else a piece of shit. But once again, we're not actually talking about what you think was problematic about the article. You're just shouting into the void, essentially. Like, if you're going to argue about it, come with facts. Okay, I think this is the last one.
Not all fat people believe in fat liberation the same way not all women believe in feminism. And I haven't talked about fat liberation in a minute, so let's dust this off. By now, we've all seen the New York Times opinion piece. And to me, it was giving my favorite terrible take. Fat people are glorifying obesity.
That's not what she was saying. She wasn't saying fat people are glorifying obesity. Not to beat a dead horse, but she was simply saying that this well-intentioned movement has over time become self-destructive with potentially fatal consequences. She wasn't saying all fat people are promoting obesity. She wasn't saying fat people don't give a fuck about their health. She's talking about a very specific niche on the internet that is harmful, cult-like, I would say.
There's this trend with former body positive influencers where they're like, listen, I made a grip off of body positivity. I'm losing weight, y'all are big mad, and I don't care about you fatties. When in actuality, the sovereignty...
Yeah, once again, if that's what you took away from it, I don't even know where to start with you. Whether or not she made money in the past, you still have the right to change your mind. I think a lot of us do things when we're younger, whether we monetize them or not, and later on we don't believe in them anymore. I was, balls deep in body positivity and subsequently fat acceptance, and now I'm speaking out against it. People can change their mind. And I just think it's like kind of the lowest common denominator when you go for somebody having made money. Like, that's just, it's a cheap shot. It's a way that you're trying to discredit them. Oh, they're a hypocrite because they made money off of you guys. A lot of these non-diet dietitians are making a shit ton of money off of their clients, and they're not doing anything to actually better their lives if we zoom out. So, I mean, it's a free market. Everybody can make money the way that they want to make money. And that doesn't mean that you have to believe the same thing that you've always believed in. And if you don't believe it anymore, then just lie, because you already made your mark and you've already started monetizing it. So you can't be a hypocrite now. Like, that's dumb. That's dumb.
To lose weight, gain weight, do whatever you want with your body, have surgery, don't have surgery, is directly related to the political grassroots movement that is fat liberation, much more commonly known, commodified, commercialized as body positivity. You as an individual losing weight will never be bigger than the program. The program is the system that was directly opposed by fat liberation. You losing weight will not absolve you of the discrimination that those in marginalized bodies face. If I were to ever change my body, my fundamental core belief that anyone in any body at any size deserves respect and equity would not change.
I think you agree with Gabriella then, because she doesn't think that anybody should be mistreated or disrespected because of their body either. Lest we forget, she's still in a bigger body. These people are acting like this woman went on Ozempic and now she hates all fat people and she's coming at them with her torch and pitchfork. They're painting a picture of her that I don't feel is accurate in any way.
So, people are not upset with you for losing weight as an individual, but people can be upset that you are violently contributing, harmfully contributing to a system that is so pervasive that people are quite literally killing themselves in the pursuit of thinness.
Okay, two things. One, she's violently contributing. This is a bigger issue that I have with, like, I feel like people are so extreme with their words now. Like, words don't have any meaning anymore. Like, how was she violent? I'm going to need a follow-up about how she was violently contributing to the beauty stand or whatever she said. The second thing that I want to say is just this thing about people unaliving themselves in the pursuit of thinness. People are doing the same thing on the other side. That's what the whole interview was about. How in the pursuit of fatness, essentially, like the pursuit of fat liberation, people are also unaliving. And I'm going to keep going back to this because it's something that's been popping up for me a lot, and something that I've been thinking about a lot is, like, why is it so universally accepted that being underweight or, withering away to nothing, that's obviously unhealthy. Everybody knows that's unhealthy. But they can't accept that eating more than you need to the point of being immobile, that's also really bad for you. There's a vast inequity between what's going on. Like, when I was having issues, underconsumption issues, there wasn't a single person who felt weird or uncomfortable or like they were discriminating against me by making assumptions about what I was doing. Because it was clear what I was doing. Like, none of my friends thought to themselves, oh yeah, Emily's vertebrae are all protruding out of her back, but maybe her body just wants to be smaller. No, like, we can tell what you're doing. And that's also like when people say you can't tell somebody's health just by looking at them. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can tell exactly what's going on by looking at someone. And I think this woman would agree. She definitely would agree that if somebody is getting too thin, that means they're not treating themselves well. So can we extend the same logic to people who just keep gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining? I don't know, you guys. Something I've been thinking about lately. Finally, I just want to leave you guys with this. We watched this already, but this is the part that I think if these fat acceptance creators got their heads out of their own asses, they would realize that they actually agree with the New York Times opinion piece. And like all of this, like it misrepresented the data, and like the actual piece, I think most of them actually agree with what she's saying. So this is...
We can still be body positive while acknowledging these risks. We can still love ourselves, even if we want to lose weight. That's what real body positivity should stand for. Loving yourself at any size and having the freedom to change it.
I like her little wink. Yeah. So not controversial. But as we can see, the movement is flailing. I believe that this is just the beginning of a massive downfall. Guys, if you made it this far, please comment with a shoe emoji. The high heel. It's got to be the high heel. And I think you already know why. Please like this video. It really does help me. Comment below with any of your thoughts and subscribe if you are not subscribed already. I'll see you all next week. And until then, peace out.